Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. Thank you for joining me today for another crafty adventure. So today we are going to do a little bit of a project where we're going to do part of the work, but we're going to rely on Mother Nature to do part of the work as well. So I've got some watercolor paper here, and I have some VersaMark embossing ink, and I have some Brusho powders and some mica powders, and I've got a crayon that I recently just broke in half by accident. We're gonna do some resist techniques using the VersaMark ink and the crayons. I might pull in some stencils and then these powders, but we're not going to add the water to them. This is the first part of the video. I'm gonna get some things set up, and then we're gonna move out to my balcony and we're gonna set up some things out there, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I'm hoping that the rain blows this direction so that it hits these papers on my balcony. And this is where Mother Nature comes in. Mother Nature is going to paint for us. With the rain that she drops down, she will be painting the Brushos and the mica powders that we put on the papers. And whatever we've used the powders underneath and the crayon underneath will hopefully come through. That's the objective. So we will do some prep work and get things set up so that Mother Nature can have a painting session tomorrow. And then we'll come back and we'll make some cards out of whatever Mother Nature painted. So let's get some things set up and ready to go. And let's get this going. Okay, so I do have a smaller VersaMark embossing ink. So I'm going to use that one on this stencil instead of trying to use the big one. We might come back and use the big one, but we're going to try this one to begin with. So first, you know what? I think I'm going to cut this panel in half. I don't even know what half is on this, because the size of this is 12. Okay, so this half is 6. So now we have 2. So let's just start with the 1. There is a textured size and a smooth side to watercolor paper, most of them. So we're going to use the smooth side. And then I'm just going to start to smoosh some ink in between the stencil. Can't really see it going on, so we're just going to hope for the best. So I'm not dragging this across the stencil because there's a lot of flimsy pieces on this stencil. And I just want this to go down in between those pieces, but not underneath them. And I'm doing my best to keep this in place. Okay, and so we have a full panel. Let's move this down. Okay, now you can barely see the pattern on there, but it's there, and it could use a little more up here actually. But you know what? I'm never going to get that back down where it was. So let me go rinse this off. Okay, so let's take some of the Brusho. These are powders. They are pigment powders. And I'm just going to drop some down on top of this. We're not going to cover the whole thing. We're just going to put some colors on here. Some powder of colors that will go together whenever they mix. So if we do pink and blue, then that will create the purple. And again, this isn't going to look like much until Mother Nature shows up and does her part of it. So we're just going to sprinkle these out here. We'll get some blue out here. Okay, and we're just gonna set this one aside. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but hopefully once Mother Nature shows up tomorrow when it rains, this will turn into something beautiful. Okay, so let's set up another one. Let's pull another stencil. Well, let's do this one. This is an Alta New stencil. It's called the Sunburst stencil. And I think we'll just do this one like this, because if we end up with a pattern in the middle, we can always chop off the sides to use on other things. Okay, and that's going to have an empty circle in the middle of it, which will be interesting. Okay, so let's use some green and yellow on this one, because green and yellow will make blue. And then some green. And that doesn't look green at all now, does it? And that's probably enough. And again, that probably doesn't look like very much. But hopefully Mother Nature will show up and bring her paintbrushes with her. So I just noticed that we started having some rain here. So very quickly, I went ahead and I sat out 2 of the experiments. These are done with the embossing ink, and then some Brusho powders, I believe is what we used on these. So you can kind of start to see the design on them. So I'm just going to leave these sit out here. The rain doesn't seem like it's coming in as far to hit these yet, and I don't want to move them out too far. So we're just going to leave these sit, and then I will come back out and check them in a little bit. And it's going to be dark by then, so I'll probably have to turn on some lights. So the lighting may change on this video. So it's the next morning, and I left these out here all night, and they did get some rain on them, which is pretty exciting. So this is what we have. A little bit of a difference. And we are expecting rain the better part of today here. So I'm going to leave these outside while I go to work, and we'll see what they look like when I come home. Hopefully the rain will be strong enough and windy enough that it comes over my balcony. And yeah, I'm excited to see what we get. So after thinking about the placement of these, I decided to go ahead and move these up more closer to the edge of the balcony, because there will be a better chance of them actually getting hit by the rain. And you know what, I might even move them up a little bit further. Just put them in between these 2 bags. This way they'll have a better chance of getting hit by the rain if it's not real windy. Let's see if this comes up, then it won't come over them. Okay. And the acrylic blocks are simply just to weight them down in case the wind does pick up. Okay, so that's where they are. And we're just gonna leave these sit for the day. So I just got home from work, and it did rain in the neighborhood today. I don't know how much it rained or if it came onto my balcony, so we're about to find out. We got some rain. And this is what we have. Look at that. That's very cool. You know, and there's still a good bit of powder on these that hasn't been touched yet. So I think I'm just gonna let these be. And we're supposed to get some more rain tomorrow. And of course the next day. It seems like all it's been doing here is raining. But so far, I'm pretty excited. I mean, look, you can see where we got some drops. Pretty fun. Okay, so that's the update for now. And yeah, we're just gonna leave these out here and see if we can get Mother Nature to come and visit us again and do more painting. So totally unexpected here, we all of a sudden had a massive gust of wind come through, and it completely lifted up my tablecloth off of the balcony, and my papers were flying around, and there's the papers. I had to bring them in. So here are the pieces. They are perfectly fine. Man, I would love to leave them out there because it seems like we're gonna get a really good storm. But I don't have anything to secure them down with so that they wouldn't blow away. And that wind is just howling. Goodness. All right, so we'll put these back out again once it calms down out there. You know, maybe Mother Nature is angry. You know, I don't know what's going on. This is insane. Couldn't resist. I had to do it. I'm gonna grab the other one and put it out here as well. Okay, so now we got both of them out here. So I'm just going to leave them out here for a little bit, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I decided to get out the tablecloth because I don't want the pigment powders to end up on my balcony. So I moved these out a little bit closer and got them on this tablecloth. So hopefully they can just do their thing now and get all wet and beautiful. And now the design on this one only went out so far. It was a 6x6 square. So this is perfectly fine for this to be up here. And then the same thing on this one. Both of these will be trimmed down and made into cards. But I think this is good for now. Okay, so I brought this one in because it's pretty well saturated. And I think that's probably as good as it's gonna get without totally washing out the pattern and everything. But I still, I took the other one back out on the porch, so let's go look at that one. All right, it is getting a little bit dark out here now to be shooting, but we have another wave of this storm coming through. So I set this one back up again, and we're gonna leave this out here, and hopefully we can get the rest of this pigment powder taken care of with a little bit of rain. So bring it on, Mother Nature, bring it on. So it's Wednesday morning, roughly 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to work, and we are supposed to get some rain today between 12 and 2. So I thought I would bring this one back out and set it up again to see if maybe we can get some more rain on this to get the pigment powders to spread out a little bit further. I think the other one is pretty much done as it is. It's pretty saturated all over, but I kind of want to see if I can get rid of some of the white on this one. So it is anchored down because I'm not going to be here to watch this one, and I don't know what the winds are going to be like. I anchored this one down with some adhesive on the back of this to the parchment paper, and then it has the blocks on it, and the whole thing is weighted down with potting soil, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, those are pretty heavy bags. So with any luck, this will still be here when we get home, and we'll check it out then. So it is now Wednesday afternoon, and it appears that we did not get any rain today like they were calling for. So I think we'll just leave this out here for a little bit, and we'll see if maybe it rains this evening. And second thought, after I look at the weather, we are not supposed to get any more rain today. The rain we were supposed to get earlier apparently didn't happen. They changed the forecast. So we're not supposed to get rain till tomorrow, and I doubt that's going to happen. And the next rain event is going to be on Saturday. So I guess we'll go ahead and clean this up and take it in and call it done till Saturday. Hi, welcome back to Camp Happy Mel. So we have these two pieces that we did previously, and today we're going to make the cards out of them. Finally, we're going to make these cards. I have some ideas in mind, at least for this one. This one, we're going to wing it. So let's start with this one, since I have a good idea of what I want to do with this one. So the first thing I need to do is I need to cut a rectangle out of this so it fits on an A2 size card. I realize it's a perfect size that I could keep it as a square, but then I would have to make a custom envelope, and then it's going to cost extra postage, and then I can't really do what I want to do because I don't have big enough square dies to do it, and I don't want to just freehand cut it and risk messing it up because I only have one and I can't replace this one. So an A2 size is the size that I normally go with, so that's what we're going to do. So I've got some dies here. I've got two sets of dies. These are Lawn Fawn's stitched rectangle dies. This is both the large and the small set. And if you want the full range, you want to get both sets. And then I have the Hero Arts. This is the rectangle infinity dies. These don't have stitching on them, but they are still the nested size. And this was just one set. And we also might bring into play, I have some dies by Pink Fresh Studio, and these are also nested dies. Every other one cuts with a what they call the folk edge rectangles, and they have a design around them, and then the in-between ones are just the straight cut ones like the Hero Arts ones. So we're going to play around with some different combinations to see what we want to do for sure before we make any cuts into this. So basically my idea, and let me get a card base. Basically my idea centers around having multiple layers out of this one sheet. And to do that, we need to pick a color to mat the alternate layers on. And I could go something like maybe a green, or maybe we could do a bright yellow in between them. I think either of those would look good. We could also go with maybe a black in between them. And this is where it gets tough to make this kind of a choice as to what the matting layer should be. I know that these always look good with black, but I think they could look equally as good with the yellow and be a more brighter, vibrant card. Same thing with the green. So it's going to be a tough choice, and we might end up cutting multiple pieces to get this figured out. So let's go ahead and start by cutting out our A2 size base. And I could take this either direction. it appears. So, and the extras that are going to be left on here, we'll use those on another card. It may not be today, but they will become another card. In the end, there won't be any waste from this. So if I do this side, then we can kind of cut away from this area that's white and have more solids, although that's not going to matter too much. And then I have to decide for that actual back layer of the card, do I want it to be this or do I want to matte this? And I think I want to matte this. So you know what, let's go ahead and cut some matting layers for what they would be for an A2 size card. And actually the first thing I need to do is cut each of these down. Okay, and I will poke out all the centers of these off screen so you don't have to watch that. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this down by 1. And by 1, I mean so that we can still see this outside border. So this one is too big. That one would work. That's a perfect fit. So let's cut it down to this size. And I think we'll take it over this way so that we still are leaving a lot of the paper left. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. So if we do this on the yellow, it'll look like this. Or on the green, or on the black. And this is where the decision gets hard. I think we're going to go green. And then for the next layer in here, I think we're going to do squares instead of rectangles. We could also do hexagons. These hexagons are by Paper Rose Studio. They are an Australian company, and this is called Stitched Hexagon Dies. I'll link these in the description below. I got them from scrapbook.com. So our next layer, that's too big. So I want to do something like this. So we're essentially going to take and cut this piece out of the background piece. And then another one out of the green of the same size to put in place of that. And then this piece out of this piece that we cut out. So let's go ahead and do this. It's a little bit complex to think your way through this. I think that's going to be the basic design. Let me pull the die that I want to use on this. So I have this word die set. There's a couple of words in here. There's thanks, hello, and thank you. I think we're going to try to use the hello, although I think the hello might be too big. It's going to stick off, the shadow is going to stick off the edges too much, but we can still use maybe the word hello that'll fit in there perfectly. And we're going to cut that a couple of times out of gold, I think. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now that we have all of our pieces cut, we are ready to assemble. So let's get to it. Once you have the idea in your head and you kind of know what you want to do and you get all the pieces cutted, get all the pieces cutted, and you get all the pieces cut, then they come together really easily. I think my favorite part of doing cards is figuring out what I want them to look like. And then, of course, assembling them. But the figuring out what I want them to look like is definitely a favorite part of mine. This piece, we're going to pop up. We're going to give it some dimension. Oops. This is going to go through the mail. And I'm going to send this to the daughter of my friend who shared the video with me. Because this was a project that they sent me the video for it and asked me if I had ever tried this. And I hadn't at that point, but I did go ahead and give it a try. And I haven't really told them how it went. I did send them a couple of little video clips as I was doing the process, but I thought it would be nice to send them this card. And maybe they will be inspired to do one of their own. Okay. So far, I like it. I really like it. So for this, I had an idea the other day when I was trying to glue some sentiments together and I was struggling with them. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I laid the pieces down on a sticky mat and used the sticky mat to hold it in place while I applied the glue. Of course, I need the sticky mat to actually hold it in place for this to work. I will have to clean the excess glue off of my sticky mat. But that's okay, doable. And that's probably way too much glue on here. Oh, so much easier than trying to hold this in my fingers and do it. Definitely much easier. Okay, let's do the next layer. I opted to do the shadow for this, or the layering for this, in the same green instead of white, because I was afraid that the white would stand out too much on the edges. But I thought that the green would blend in with the rest of it. Definitely so much easier using the sticky mat to hold down the words. And now we'll put the gold on top of it. That works beautifully. To use a sticky mat, absolutely perfect. Now I just got to get it up off the sticky mat. And now we'll put the sentiment on the card. And I'm thinking maybe we add some glitter Nouveau drops to it. Way too much glue. They're a little bit hard to see, but they're there. And that is our first card. I think it came out super pretty. Real happy with how this turned out. And now we'll come back and we'll do card number 2. For the second card, again, with this one, I have an idea in mind for what I want to do with this. And it's just going to be a matter of figuring out how to execute that idea. So the first thing we're going to do is I need to cut a frame out of this to fit an A2 size card. And we're actually going to do probably 2 frames. I think if I use this die, this is a die by Queen & Company. It's a foundation die, and it is out of set number 14. This creates a frame that cuts both the inside and the outside of the frame. So we're going to use this one first. I just want to make sure that this is A2 size, and it is, and I think that will work good for what we need. And I am going to cut this piece of paper down so that I can get it through the die cut machine. I need to utilize a lot of this piece of paper. So let me make sure that where I'm putting my frame is going to be good. Okay, so wait, so before we do that, I need 3 stars out of this as well. So let me see what size we need for the front of this card. I want a bigger star. That could be that size. And then 2 smaller stars. So I might actually have to go smaller than this one. Like maybe this size with this one and this one would be good. So I need to make sure that I can get 3 stars out of this paper somehow. So if I take one of these out of here, can I get 2 out of here? Okay, so I can get 2 out of here, and then I can get another one from either over here, or if I move this down slightly, if we come this way, and I can do one. I'd really like to have one of these be mostly blue, preferably the bigger one. So if I do it this way, and there's one that's reddish and one that's reddish this way. Okay, so I think that'll work best if we do it this way. So let me go ahead and cut this down. Hopefully we'll have enough scraps from this one that we can make a second card. And I think so let's go ahead and start to put some of this together. I am using just standard Scotch tape to put this white piece into the frame. Now I am going to die cut another piece to go over top of this one. So let's go ahead and do that. So to go inside of this frame, yeah, we can do this size. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I actually want to cut 2 of these so that I can double stack them to give this a little bit of dimension to it. And this will definitely cover up the fact that we took the center out of that other piece so that we could cut stars. There is a method to the madness. So let's go ahead and start to put the rest of this together. This is going to be a Veterans Day card for my dad for next year. He is a Vietnam vet, and every year I make him a Veterans Day card. And this will be his one for 2025. Before I attach these down, I want to die cut out the words for on here. So we're going to stop at this point right now till I get the words cut out, and then we'll come back. Okay, so to finish off this last card, it took me a little bit to figure out what I wanted to do with this. I don't have these words as a stamp or as a die that I could cut them out. So I tapped into my husband and asked him if he would create these words on the computer for me in an arc so that I could put them over top of the stars. Because it's not a die and because I don't have my scan and cut here, I had to fussy cut these, but it seemed to work out okay. So we're going to go ahead and finish assembling this card. When you don't have a die for something or a stamp for something, the next best thing is to just create it on the computer. I'm pretty sure he created this in Illustrator. You could probably do the same thing in Canvas, or if you have a Cricut, maybe in the software that they use for those. And then if you do have a Cricut, you could probably just cut it out on that. Or if you have a scan and cut, you could cut it out on that as well. Oftentimes, whenever I don't have the sentiment die that I want or the sentiment stamp, I will just create it on my own. Or I'll ask my husband if he would create it for me, which is what I did in this case. And that way you have unlimited resources for any stamps or rather any sentiments that you would like to have on your cards. I created a whole set of these to use at Christmas, and then I die cut them with different label shapes, and that worked out really, really well. I am going to pop each of these up with some dimensionals just to give them a little bit of height and make them stand off of the page a little bit, or the card a little bit, rather. And I've not decided yet if I'm going to pop this up or whether it will be glued flat against the stars. I'll decide that in a couple of minutes. And these ones, I might have to double the foam squares on the back of these for the ones that are hanging over the main ones, which is this one and this one down here. That's just to make up for the height difference between the back star and the front star. And then we'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, so it's going to be these two will have the extra square on them. Or the extra hexagon, rather. And then this piece, I think I will I'll glue the ends of it and I'll put dimensionals on the back part back here. And I'm going to have to go 2 on that one, I think. And it might be easier if I put the dimensionals actually right on the star where I want them to be. Okay, and then I'm going to glue these ones down. Okay. And that finishes off the last card in this series. I hope you enjoyed this fun experiment with painting with Mother Nature. I had a good time doing this one. It was a lot of fun to do. Unexpected results. Super happy that I tried it. Thank you, Julia and Isabella, for sending me the video. And that other card will be on its way to you soon. And this one I'm going to save for my dad for Veterans Day for next year. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you'll come back for the next crafty card making adventure. And I'll see you in the next video.